Hello and welcome to day 2 of the 2020 IoTSF annual conference. And as I may have mentioned yesterday, this is the longest running dedicated conference on IoT security anywhere in the world. These are unprecedented times, however, and I hope that wherever you are, that you and your loved ones are safe and well. This year, because of the pandemic, I join you from my home in the southwest of England. And whilst the situation has meant we've had to think differently this year, going virtual is a great opportunity for us to reach out and have the participation of a wider pool of speakers and also engage a wider audience. Perhaps this is the first time for you. So good morning, good afternoon or good evening depending on where you are in the world, and thank you for joining us as we work together to make it safe to connect in this era of IoT. And for those of you who still do not know me, my name is John Moore and I am a co-founder and the managing director of IoTSF. So I'm delighted to welcome you, get us started and guide you through the rich agenda of today's conference, the theme of which is applied security. Please remember that if you are tweeting, use the conference hashtag IoTSF2020 and please include us at IoT_SF when you do. Yesterday, I outlined the founding values of IoTSF. Those values are genuinely applicable and stand the test of time. We also consider a life cycle approach in our work and have 3 BSs, BSs, to help you convey some simple yet very powerful messaging. For manufacturers and developers, the first BS is build secure, the theme we explored yesterday in security by design. Now, one word that summarised the state of IoT security back in 2015 for me was egregious. It was clear at that time that problems existed everywhere and something, not just complaining, needed to be done. And since that time, IoTSF has been encouraging industry to voluntarily take the lead on ensuring security is built in from the start. This is reflected in our messaging and our publications. I'm pleased to say that progress has been made on this front over the last 5 years, with many more companies educating themselves, implementing security and truly accepting their duty of care, not just towards their customers, but also the wider ecosystem. In 2018, we launched the IoTSF Champion Award to help celebrate those who were demonstrating to the world that they take security seriously. So congratulations once again to Arçelik from Turkey and Signify, which you may have known as Philips Lighting, consecutive winners of the award. Unfortunately, this year we're not running the award because of the COVID situation, but rest assured it will return hopefully next year when we have a working vaccine and we can gather once again. It's therefore not forgotten, merely on hold. Whilst the Build Secure challenge is far from done, obviating the need to sustain efforts to encourage manufacturers to do their part, I have realised that I do not use the egregious word quite as much as I did in the past. Interestingly, however, it has made room for a new word to more prominently enter my consciousness. That word is parsimonious. Whilst there is a very clear need for IoT security, demand is quite another matter. We therefore have to help create the conditions for demand. I mentioned regulation yesterday as one way to drive the demand for security, and in our view, it's necessary as a baseline. Regulation, though, is often criticised for its limitations, as it can be quite a blunt instrument, and it can only take us so far. It's very difficult to get regulation right, certainly the first time, and then it's usually slow to adapt to a changing world. And let's not also forget, it has to be policed too, and those that flout the law need to feel the pain of punishment, either financially or ultimately with a custodial sentence. And this entire arrangement is burdensome for us. Regulation, therefore, plays a role at the most basic levels, the minimum we should expect and accept. Perhaps, though, a better approach is to encourage the market to ask for security. And then, if the vendors don't supply it, they don't have a business. It's as simple as that. This is complementary to regulation, of course, and it has the benefit that it can adapt quickly and move at market speed. Parsimonious suggests, however, that there is a natural reluctance for business and consumers to spend when there is no perceived need to. Yet there truly is a need, and not just because we all want to be safe in cyberspace, but also because it undermines market confidence and the resulting benefits. So we say to those in the market for IoT systems, the specifiers, the buyers, the purchasers, make sure you buy secure. Make sure that you specify security in your purchasing and check your suppliers meet your requirements. Hold them to account with contract penalties as necessary if they fail to deliver. And this in itself could be a relatively quick and powerful shift, nudging suppliers to take action sooner rather than later. Or to put it another way, adopt a security mindset, not just a compliance mindset. And of course, this also means that you will reduce your risk and possibly your liabilities too. So please invest the time to buy secure. To do this, however, we also have to overcome the cost barriers, make security consumable and lower cost. To get there, it feels to me like it could be on a similar pathway to that as the evolution of quality. Now, I've been around in the technology industry long enough to see quality transition from a distinct and separate set of measures through to a total quality management and what we have today. And that is, we just expect it. Many of the costs have been driven out or absorbed through new processes and business propositions. We need to get to a position where, when we are talking about security, we are generally talking about enhanced security, not the basics. It should be reasonable for us all to assume the basics are covered. And with that in mind, we welcome the recent news that the IoT Cybersecurity Improvement Act is now firmly on its way to making sure that suppliers to US government will need to comply with NIST guidelines on security. Government procurement is just one part of the multiverse of markets open to IoT vendors, of course. However, it's a very good exemplar and shows how governments can lead in other ways, not only through regulation. We therefore urge other governments around the world to follow suit if they do not already do so. Everyone needs to buy secure. Tomorrow we'll talk about resilience in operation, yet today we talk about applications. And just yesterday I said that the themes of the conference strongly align to our three founding values. Today's theme, applied security, aligns with our aim for fitness of purpose, recognising that context is vitally important for planning security. And when we consider what IoTSF should focus on, there's a great deal that we want to do. There's a great deal we could do and should do, of course. We often talk about horizontal measures, those that can be generally applied. But we also discuss the verticals, the measures that are not universally applicable, but may be specific to one or more market sectors, but crucially not all. It is true, however, that factors that influence the decisions are significantly economic, but not always. The demand for more stringent security often increases with the threat of privacy, liability, loss of life, or national security. And today we'll get into some of the nuanced details of a range of applications and what it means to stakeholder interest as we try and tame the wicked challenge of IoT security. On the agenda, we feature talks covering a range of subjects from chips to 5G, and I'm also pleased to tell you that you'll get to hear about the progress we've been making in more of our working groups too, specifically smart buildings and supply chain integrity. So I hope you have a great day, and if you believe in what we're trying to achieve here and throughout, I'd like to invite you to consider joining IoTSF if you're not a member already. It's not expensive, you'll get a great deal of benefits in return, and you'll enable us to do more together to make it safe to connect. And of course, to our existing members, thank you for supporting our work. It really does make a difference, as I hope you have witnessed already. And that brings me neatly to a very short pause for additional thanks. I'd like to thank the conference sponsors once again, simply because you're so very important to this. And to give you a deserved plug, you can find more details about each of our sponsors on the conference website and in the proceedings booklets, which I hope you received last week. And now to start the day. I'd like to welcome Mihoko Matsubara, Chief Cybersecurity Strategist at NTT Corporation, to take the platform for her aptly named talk, IoT Security Challenges and Opportunities in the 5G Era. Mihoko, the platform is yours.